Imagine you meet someone who understands money. They know they should spend less than they earn. They understand investing. They know what compound growth is. They know they should have an emergency fund. They know lifestyle inflation is dangerous. They've watched hundreds of videos about wealth. They've probably read books about it too. And yet, they're still struggling financially. Meanwhile, someone who knows far less about money is quietly building savings, investing consistently, and becoming financially secure. So here's the uncomfortable question. How can someone know exactly what they should do with their money, and still do the opposite? Maybe the problem isn't a lack of financial knowledge. Maybe the real problem is something much deeper. Psychology. Introduction. Welcome to Wealth and Success. Here, we explore the hidden psychology behind money, wealth, and success. And today, we're looking at a strange contradiction. Why do intelligent people sometimes remain financially stuck even when they know how wealth is built? This isn't about blaming people for being poor. Financial circumstances are influenced by income, opportunity, family responsibilities, economic conditions, unexpected expenses, and many other factors. But there is another layer we don't talk about enough: our behavior. Because knowing what is financially sensible doesn't guarantee that we will behave sensibly. And once you understand why, some financial decisions start making a lot more sense. Chapter 1. The Knowledge Action Gap. Let's start with something simple. You already know things that are good for you. You know exercise is good. You know sleep matters. You know eating well matters. But knowing those things doesn't mean you always do them. Money works the same way. Someone can know that spending everything they earn is dangerous, and still do it. They can know that investing early can matter, and still postpone it. They can know that high-interest debt can become expensive, and still keep using it. Why? Because knowledge and behavior operate differently. Knowledge answers, "What should I do?" Behavior answers, "What am I actually going to do?" And those two answers can be completely different. Think about someone who tells themselves, "I know I need to start saving." They genuinely mean it. Then payday arrives. A few purchases happen. A bill comes up. There's a restaurant visit. Something else needs replacing. And suddenly the month is over. They tell themselves, "I'll start next month." Next month arrives. The same thing happens. After a while, next month becomes a permanent financial strategy. The person doesn't necessarily lack intelligence. They lack a system that turns their intention into behavior. And this is one of the biggest lessons in wealth psychology. Knowing isn't doing. Chapter 2. Your brain prefers now. Here's where psychology becomes fascinating. Imagine someone offers you a choice: $100 today, or $120 a year from now. The future option might make mathematical sense. But the $100 today is tangible. You can spend it. You can see it. You can enjoy it. The future $120 is abstract. This is related to what behavioral economists call present bias, the tendency to give greater weight to rewards available now than rewards that arrive later. And this creates a huge challenge for building wealth. Because wealth often requires the opposite behavior. You have to say, "I could spend this money today, but I'm going to give up some of today's pleasure for a future benefit." That's difficult because the future doesn't send you notifications. It doesn't make you feel excited. It doesn't give you instant gratification. Your brain can easily feel the reward of buying something today. It can't emotionally experience the benefit of financial security 10 years from now. That's why delayed gratification matters. And why wealth building often feels boring at the beginning. You're making sacrifices for a version of yourself that doesn't exist yet. Chapter 3. Smart people can overthink themselves into inaction. Now let's talk about something particularly interesting. Intelligence can sometimes become a disadvantage when it turns into endless analysis. A person wants to invest. So they research. Then they research some more. They compare different investments. They watch videos. They read articles. They ask, what if the market falls? What if I choose the wrong investment? What if there's a better opportunity? What if I wait 6 months? What if I lose money? Every question sounds intelligent, and some questions are absolutely worth asking. But eventually, something strange happens. Research becomes a substitute for action. You feel productive because you're learning. But nothing has actually changed. You have more information, but the same financial situation. This is why there's a difference between responsible analysis and analysis paralysis. Responsible analysis eventually leads to a decision. Analysis paralysis keeps producing more questions. And the danger is that you're not necessarily making a bad decision. You're making no decision. Chapter 4. The Perfectionism Trap. Another psychological trap is perfectionism. You want to start a business, but the website isn't ready. You want to invest, but you don't understand everything yet. You want to create content, but your equipment isn't good enough. You want to change careers, but you don't have every skill required. So you wait, and wait, and wait, until you feel ready. But here's the problem. Readiness is often created through action. You don't become confident and then act. Sometimes you act, learn, make mistakes, adjust, and confidence comes later. Think about someone learning to ride a bicycle. They can watch 100 tutorials. They can understand balance theoretically. They can memorize every instruction. But eventually, they have to get on the bicycle. Financial progress can work the same way. You need knowledge, but eventually, knowledge has to become behavior. Your first step doesn't have to be perfect. It needs to be thoughtful, manageable, and appropriate for your circumstances. Chapter 5. The Lifestyle Inflation Trap. Now let's talk about one of the most deceptive financial traps, lifestyle inflation. Imagine someone earns $2,000 a month. They struggle, then they get promoted. Now they earn $3,000. They think, finally, I can breathe. But gradually, they move into a more expensive apartment. They upgrade their phone. They eat out more. They buy a better car. They take more expensive vacations. Their subscriptions increase. Their expectations increase. And eventually, they're earning $3,000, but still feeling like they don't have enough. Then they receive another raise. And the cycle repeats. The problem isn't that enjoying your money is wrong. You worked for it. The problem is when every increase in income automatically becomes an increase in lifestyle. If your income rises by 20%, but your lifestyle also rises by 20%, your financial position may not improve nearly as much as your salary suggests. This is why some people can earn impressive incomes and still feel financially trapped. Their income increased, but so did their financial obligations. Chapter 6. The Identity Trap. Now we get to something even deeper. Identity. Imagine someone repeatedly tells themselves, I'm just bad with money. Eventually, that statement can become part of how they see themselves. Or, people like me never become wealthy. I'm just a spender. I'll always struggle financially. I'm not an investor. These statements sound harmless, but they can become self-fulfilling. Because your behavior tends to be influenced by the person you believe you are. If you think you're a spender, saving can feel unnatural. If you think you're terrible with money, a financial mistake confirms your identity. If you believe wealthy people are fundamentally different from you, building wealth may feel like something that belongs to somebody else. So perhaps the question shouldn't always be, how do I become wealthy? Maybe the first question is, what kind of person am I becoming through my daily financial decisions? Because every repeated behavior is reinforcing an identity. Chapter 7. Emotional Spending. And then there is something many financial conversations completely ignore, emotion. Sometimes we don't buy things because we need them. We buy them because we're stressed, lonely, bored, tired, celebrating, trying to reward ourselves, trying to impress someone, or simply trying to feel better. That's why telling someone, just make a budget, doesn't always solve the problem. Because sometimes the spending isn't really about money. It's about emotion. If spending is being used to regulate emotions, then the financial problem may require more than mathematical discipline. You have to understand, what feeling am I trying to create or escape when I spend this money? That question can be far more revealing than, can I afford it? Because technically, you might be able to afford something, but that doesn't necessarily mean the purchase is aligned with what you actually want your money to accomplish. Chapter 8. So what do smart people do differently? So if intelligence isn't enough, what can actually help? Here are 5 shifts. Number 1. Stop collecting information without acting. Learn something, then ask, what can I responsibly do with this information? Turn knowledge into one action. Number 2. Make good financial behavior easier. Don't rely entirely on willpower. Create systems. Automate where appropriate. Set clear financial goals. Make the desired behavior the easier behavior. Number 3. Give your future self a voice. Before spending money, ask, would I rather have this thing, or the freedom this money could help create? You won't always choose the future. And that's okay. The goal is awareness. Number 4. Stop waiting for perfection. You don't need the perfect plan. You need a reasonable plan that you can improve. Start, learn, adjust, repeat. Number 5. Change your identity. Instead of saying, I'm terrible with money, try, I'm learning to become better with money. Instead of, I can't save, ask, what system would make saving easier for me? The goal isn't positive thinking. It's creating a new relationship with your behavior. Conclusion. So why do smart people stay poor even when they know how to build wealth? Sometimes, it's because knowledge isn't the problem. Behavior is. They know what to do, but struggle to act consistently. They overthink. They wait for certainty. They chase perfection. They spend to feel better. They allow their lifestyle to grow with every raise. Or they develop an identity that tells them, this is just who I am. But here's the encouraging part. If these behaviors were learned, they can be changed. You don't need to become a completely different person tomorrow. Start with one behavior, one decision, one system, one financial habit, then repeat it. Because wealth isn't usually created by one extraordinary moment. It's often created by ordinary decisions, made consistently, for a very long time. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these do you think holds people back the most? Brain overthinking? Flying money emotional spending? Upward trend lifestyle inflation? Hourglass choosing today over tomorrow? Or something completely different? Tell me in the comments. And if you enjoy exploring the psychology behind money, wealth, and success, subscribe to Wealth and Success. Because sometimes, the biggest financial obstacle isn't how much you know. It's what you do with what you know. See you in the next video.